said, what with a broken leg? And he said, well, you can't. So anyway, listen,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Natalia Penza, she's responsible for this little story, at least where I found it. Once again, in the little columns, far away from the headlines. However, the story broke yesterday, and uh, it really went around the world really quick. Because a lot of other publications have mentioned this story. But as we only do our podcast on a Thursday, I would have done the podcast yesterday if we could have done, but
Yeah.
and being with the fray. But anyway, let's go. Now, the Caixa Económica Federal,
Mm.
I think it was the Caixa Económica Federal. For the people who don't know, is a large bank in Brazil.
Mm.
You know, in Bangu, which is a district of Rio de Janeiro.
Mm.
He had a weekend at Bernie's incident moment when Erica de Souza Vieira Nunes took her uncle to the bank
Mm.
so he could take out a 17,000 real bank loan.
Okay.
Paulo Braga, the uncle, was a frail man and confined to a wheelchair. So the exception to let him into the bank via a large door was given because he couldn't go through those revolving doors that the rest of us, the metal detectors, the rest of us have to go through. And at the desk of where she was negotiating with the manager and the employees, they were a little bit suspicious of this guy because he didn't. First of all, he didn't say anything. He didn't say very much. He was almost. He looked a little. One of the employees said that he looked a little pale, a little ill. And however, the contract was drafted. It was just needed for Mr. Braga to sign the contract. Apparently his creditworthiness was quite robust. He could have the loan. But when it came to sign the contract, Mr. Braga had a certain difficulty of holding the pen. So this lady Erica had to help him hold the pen, so we could sign the contract at the end. At which time the police came in and arrested Erica, and they didn't arrest Paulo Braga because Paulo Braga was dead. She brought this defunct into the bank to try and get a loan out in his name, thinking she could hoodwink the bank clerk into giving him a 17,000 real bank loan.
Right.
After an investigation, it turned out Mr. Braga had died some hours before his visit to the bank, which of course made Erica the worst confidence trickster of Brazil, and at least for 2024. Now, you could argue that only things like this are crazy enough to happen here in Brazil, because there are other things that, in other Latin American countries also, you get crazy stuff, people acting. I don't know if it's the heat.
We may be criticised for laughing at this, or I will be, but you have to live in the region to actually know what that is. Funny and not incredible at the same time. Yes, yeah.
Right. Well, this is going to wipe the smile off your face, because we thought that it could only happen here in Latin America, with the Latinos are really quick to get excited and just as quick to cool back down again. Two guys in Ireland were sent to prison because they took a dead person to the post office to try and get his pension.
Oh
He
yeah.
died, and they tried to scam the pension, but they
Yeah.
were seen by the post office worker. And
Mm.
apparently, in the court case, it showed video of the two guys um, putting a hat on the dead man's head and putting him in the car, to take him to the post office.
Yeah.
Deacon Horney, sorry, got 2 years.
Yeah.
He was a nephew of the deceased, so it's like,
Right.
it seems like the uncles are the favourites to be taken to the bank or the post office when
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
dead.
Right.
And Peter Doyle, his accomplice, Peter Doyle was a dead man, sorry, and his
Yeah.
accomplice Gareth Coakley, he only
Yeah.
got 18 months
Oh
for
well.
help for aiding and abetting. So it does happen. It does happen even in the Western world with us
Well,
Caucasians, where it's colder and
uh,
wetter.
I,
Climate here.
are you suggesting Ireland's part of the Western world? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say things like that. Yeah, rural Ireland. Yeah. Um,
Me personally, I think, but for me, 17,000 reais
yeah.
is it like if you're going to scam a bank loan
Yeah.
and you're only wanting 17,000 reais, it seems like an obscure number to
Mm.
want. And I think, I mean, I'm going to be searching around for the conclusion of this for when she
Mm.
goes to court,
Yeah.
and find out the motives behind it. But it wouldn't surprise me, as her uncle died a couple of hours or 3 hours or 4 hours before he
Yeah.
went to the bank,
Yeah.
that perhaps she didn't have the money to bury him,
Mm.
took him to the bank to try and scam the money so she could bury him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was the whole story. And of course, have a little bit left over to do some shopping in the Copacabana.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he's in the ground, he ain't going to pay it back. But yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
He won't be able to count it either.
I mean, yeah.
Not often has to use speechless.
Yeah, I'm trying to put together some words on this one. Yeah, I just sort of think, just soon enough after, just before the old rigor mortis sets in.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the rigor mortis had passed by, because what happens when you die,
Mm.
the rigor mortis is quite fast to set
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
but then it relaxes again. And I think that they probably waited for it to relax again, because they showed a video of this thing in the Brazilian bank, and
Yeah.
she was like the worst ventriloquist. She was holding his head and moving his head and going back and forth side to side with his head.
Yeah.
He's alone. He's alone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be looking for this video. As morbid as that might sound, that kind of, I would like to say tickled me, because it's not an inappropriate word, but kind of intrigues me. Yeah, not that I would want to do anything like that myself. Yeah, but yeah, these are amusing stories. The perpetrators got caught. I've never heard of anyone getting away with it. I mean, obviously, there's fraud after people died, which is done electronically or has been done for paper for years. But yeah, to actually
I'm sure that they've seen the film Weekend at Bernie's, and they got away with it for so long. They probably thought this is easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. I saw it in the film. It must be easy. Sometimes somebody once told me, got more front than Selfridges. You can get away with almost anything. It's not quite true. And yeah, for anyone outside the UK, Selfridges is a big shop in London. No, I think it's got the biggest shop front in the country, in London certainly. So yeah, more front than Selfridges is a kind of colloquial expression to me. If you've got if you've got the cojones to do something like that, if you're more outrageous, the more likely you are to get away with something.
If you are not covered in shame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you don't have a conscience, you can do anything. Yeah, I mean, actually, to grab up your uncle, and with a chair. Yeah, it's actually, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we've all seen dead bodies, willingly or otherwise, here on occasions.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it is a. I mean, yeah, you almost want them to. The real sort of the hard British side wants me to have actually them to got away with it to stab at the establishment. The ethical sort of more moral side thinks, well, they got caught. That's good. I mean, it would have been incredible, particularly the woman here. I mean, there's a different matter. The woman here, if she'd have got away with it, like you said, there's probably some very genuine reasons behind it.
Yeah.
Or there could be even some more sinister reasons.
I wouldn't say genuine reason. I would say desperate reason.
Well, yeah.
I would say desperate reason. I don't think anybody were waiting for their uncle to die so they could try and take a loan out in his name. There's a lot easier things to do. It strikes me that it was like a last-minute decision to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And if they couldn't do that, then there's something else that they couldn't do because they didn't have the money to do it. That's sort of the rationale that I've got behind it.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, how it does sound like a badly thought out scam. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Why they couldn't have done it by phone? I'll never know.
I was going to. Well, actually, you can now with AI. It's probably
you can, of course, you can. If an uncle's got a bank account with the bank, he could do this by phone.
Yeah. It strikes me as that possibly she didn't think it through, or somebody put the idea in her head, or somebody else.
Do you think?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know it's an obvious statement. Yeah. The sad thing is, I'm actually thinking how I would have done it, and it's like when you get to that level, maybe I've been here for a while now. There's other stories I could tell you about here that you realised you've been in Brazil too long when, but yeah, I think they're amusing little stories. The people got caught, like you say, it's already been done in films and things. I saw a film from the 80s a while ago where they actually put somebody in a wheelchair to con some gangsters, the fact that their boss was still alive, sort of thing. Yeah, totally. Well, you'd think it was incredible. Sometimes these comedy writers and film writers are inspired by true events, and sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. I don't know how you could get face to face. I mean, if I was sitting opposite somebody who was deceased, I think I would soon rumble it. Yeah. There's only one other people that might actually look that dead, and that's sort of sociology class students, who might look as though they're passed out in their early 20s, sort of thing. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think you could really. Other than that, it'd be quite easy to tell. It's always a fear actually with my students when you're always watching their facial expressions to make sure they're still with you. Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. They might watch this,
Yeah. These are my students who have stuck with me. I think they're used to me by now. Okay. A lot of my students like the lessons because they have a bit of a entertainment.